Hey, good morning. You're not going to believe the beautiful day it is today. This whole last week has been like a perfect early fall. Hi. You want to come say hi? Nope. We're going to go the other way. Okay. Hop up. You going to behave? You can behave. Oh, what joy. To have a pet's love while you're going through changes, whether it's physical or emotional. Such a godsend. That and the connections I'm making through YouTube. I want to thank you ladies very much. Carol, Diana, or Dana, and Janice. Excuse me. Excuse me. Special shout out to you. I have had a kind of lightheadedness today, and so I'm trying to hydrate. Sometimes I dehydrate. I've always dehydrated easily. I think partly because, please don't tell anyone, but I'm a little bit of a mouth breather. When I was young, I had such trouble with my sinuses and allergies that I almost never was able to breathe out of my nose. So I had to breathe through my mouth without drawing too much attention to it. You know how some people mouth breathe and they have their mouth gaping open? Well, I was aware of that, so I try to do it without being too obvious. And now it just comes natural, and I accidentally am mouth breathing when I don't realize. And I think I just dehydrate and get lightheaded. But as soon as I drink some water, I'm good. What are you doing? What are you doing? When he licks, it's just so distracting to me. Oh, how do you like my hippie shirt? This is one of the shirts with color that I got. I know it's not a lot of color, but this is crazy print for me. Very, very hippy dippy, so I like that. But I'm just not used to the chaos. But we'll see. We'll see. It was at the outlet store, and I really liked it. It feels good. It feels really comfortable. So we'll see. I am feeling so much better, but I've had several days of doing absolutely close to nothing. That's the truth. Stop, dear God in heaven, stop. But I'm still, and I talked about this, I think, in the last video, is that sometimes when we've been under pain or duress of whatever, our the weight keeps getting heavier and heavier until we're just holding on by a thread, right? So we have to kind of know our limits, not keep trying to put up with something that's just not necessary. So that we can take care of ourselves, guilt-free. So, with that being said, time to put on some makeup. Oh, and when I say guilt-free, I mean it, because I took 3 or 4 days to do my weekly laundry, which is about 6 loads of laundry. It's a lot of laundry. I am going to use this dupe, the Il Mirage dupe that I got off of Temu. I'm going to use that because my skin looks pretty dark under the eyes. And this has a little more coverage than what I was going to use. It just smells like a very mild Wet n Wild. Because you know how fragrant that is. It smells like a paint shop. Frankie, stop. Stop. And this has more coverage than the one that I use, that I love, that I use for moisturizing, you know. And yet it still goes on very nicely. You know, if this is really everybody, it's got a lot of positive reviews as being a dupe for that more expensive foundation, I can see where that's true. It's thick enough, though, that it doesn't just go into my big pores like some do. You know, because of my acne scarring and because of the chicken pox, I have some pores and pox that just aren't. I'm going to put, I hardly ever do this, but I'm going to see if I can fill in those big old blackhead holes from years ago. Stop. 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 You're going to go outside. You're going to go outside. I mean it. Don't you look at me in that tone of voice. Don't, you know, he'll look all innocent. Like, what are you talking about? Just stop. See, it's irritating, isn't it? Okay. What do you think? It's not quite as moisturizing as the other that I use all the time. I love this. But great coverage. It's just not as moisturizing, so I have a little more wrinkles. Oh, so I was going to tell you. So I had a little more time to watch. Excuse me. A little more YouTube. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember her name. She's really young looking. I don't know if it's the filters, if it's what it is, but she was talking about skincare, and it was something like skincare for over 60, skincare for over 70, something like that. I'm like, girl, you're 35 years old. Or your genetics are freakishly, weirdly wonderful. Or you've had so much face work done that you look 35. And the news you have for taking care of yourself is nothing I'm going to tap into. I am not going to. I am not going to tap into all of the facial processes that it takes to look that young. Plus, I don't have the genetics to carry it off. I'm pretty sure the last time I had my face done by someone who, you know, works for the stars, I was lucky enough to be able to afford that at the time. It cost me $2,500. I looked and felt amazing for, I would say, a good solid 9 months. The problem is, $2,500 every 9 months isn't really in my wheelhouse financially. That's just not where I'm going to spend $2,500 every 9 months. I'm not that wealthy. Plus, it took me, oh gosh, because of my fair skin, the work they did on my lips, they had to shape them with the product they inserted in there. It's kind of like clay. They have to shape it once it's in, they get it inside your mouth. And it took I'll bet 6 weeks for the bruising to go down. That's true. So I can't afford 6 weeks. And it bruised so badly that the first 3 or 4 weeks, there's just no covering it up. I'm sorry that if you have fair skin and you bruise that bad, the amount of makeup you'd have to wear, you would not be able to see someone in person and not have it obvious. With the amount of wrinkles I had, to not have to go through some kind of terrible. It was just not worth it to me. I'm glad I tried it though. There's also a cute little lady. She used to be in America, and now I guess she and her family moved to Spain or some foreign country that's just beautiful. And she does fashion more than anything. And her fashion sense has really hit a higher echelon of people. She used to show fashion for everyday people like us, or like me. And now is there any way possible that you can stop? Frankie, is there any way possible? Is there, Frank? Stop. Oh, I'll give you a treat. Oh, I know what I can do. Oh, you know what? I'm going to give you a stuffed animal. Oh my gosh. I am so dizzy. I don't know how I got so dehydrated. All right. So anyway, my long-winded point is that he does not swallow the eyes. He chews them and then leaves them. So I can trust him to just chew those out of there. I had a dog that would always chew the squeaky toy out. And then he wasn't interested in the squeaky toy anymore. But he never ate the squeaky toy, thank goodness. There are dogs who you can't trust, so I understand that. Matter of fact, I can trust him with chewing these labels. But I tore him off because I know some of you love Frankie almost as much as I do. And don't want him to be at risk. So I'm trying to look like a good doggy mommy. See, I can hear that. No problem. It's that constant licking. His nails are getting too long. They probably could be trimmed down. And I did use that sulfur, so his paws are nice and his skin looks really good. Fleas are to a minimum. You got a dog, you're going to have a flea once in a while. And everyone is complaining. Everyone is complaining about this year's fleas. It's like, what in the hell is going on here? We do not know, but it's horrible. That's for sure. So, we're doing well. He just got another flea treatment, which I don't know if I told you this, but I'll try to get over here so you can watch him too. I hate doing it because I don't like giving him poison, but I just could not live with the fleas. Okay, I'm quit repeating myself like some old senile person. That's all right. I have been so healthy. So healthy all my life. The only challenge I've had is good boy. Good boy. Good boy. It's sinus issues. I've had it since I was a kid. Remember Sinex, that spray? Yeah. Oh my God, I was addicted to it. And it kind of was just something I lived with. You think I'm gonna pick that up? This? He just delights me. That's why I was, it's funny how we have some of us who have gone through so much growing up that was, you're kidding me. That was chaotic. It wasn't like this normal lives go. It's like, a crack, broken glass kind of thing. It's real easy, I think, for the brain to see the ups and downs craziness of life almost as normal and not recognize the stress that's going on in the body. And that's why when they say the body keeps a score, you can see it. Now, illness doesn't always come to just people who have had hard childhoods, but you can kind of see where it happens to some people in that way. Louise Hay. Do you remember Louise Hay? Anybody remember Louise Hay? She used to talk about, she had a book called Healing Your Life, I think, and she would put different ailments that that people have and connect them to an emotional challenge. Like for me, for years, I had lower back pain and hip pain. And I don't remember what it was challenged to, but I think it had to do with trust that I could carry the load, or I felt like I was carrying the weight of the world, or I don't remember what all it was. But those were some of the things I did work on in therapy, is taking everything so personally. I thought that, for instance, when I had back pain, it's like, of course I have back pain. It figures. Of course I stubbed my toe. Oh gosh darn it. And then just like this with this whiplash, not even for a second this time. But back in the day, it would have been, oh, of course I have whiplash. Of course. It's something. It's always something, kind of thing. And with practice, I realize I am not a victim. All this happening is life. Life happens. Life happens. Especially if I know I'm with someone who gets around me sometimes and really doesn't give a rat's ass. I mean, I'm not complaining. Doesn't give a rat's ass about what's going on sometimes, other than getting their needs met. That's what I call rammy. I don't call it narcissism anymore. Because really, honestly, that's out of my wheelhouse as far as what I want to spend my time thinking about. So I just decided it's called being rammy, because I know how to protect myself from it. I know how not to overvalue the behavior, overinvest in the behavior. It's kind of none of my business. If I'm going to participate, I know I'm taking my risks. Jeez. Oh. What did you find? Let me have it. Let go. That's mine. That's mine. Mine. Thank you. Good boy. See how amazing he is? He's just amazing. Just love him so much. You got the nose. Good job. Good job, baby. Good job, baby. This is where he, you know how they'll try to move your arm towards them? Because I wasn't petting, and he accidentally, my skin's getting so thin because I'm aging, I guess, and it dug a little top skin off. So I put some iodine on it, and it'll heal up really nice. But I do heal quickly. Like I said, the only thing that I have ever, you know what, I'm going to do something. Who asked me if I ever do my wet line? I don't do my wet line, but I will tell you, I very often take the time to use my little brush to pull up my lid and get down into my lashes as low as it'll go. But I'm not going up underneath to do my wet line. I'm just not gonna do that, because I'd have to get out the waterproof stuff, and I don't want to work that hard at it. Nope, not at all. You know, I wouldn't mind. I want to show you something. Here's some eyeshadows that I've been using. I don't use the sparkles, except for maybe in my eyebrows a little bit, because it's just the right color. And it kind of helps it not be able to tell if it's real hairs or not. That's what I'm telling myself. So I am looking for a palette that's this natural. You know what I ought to do is I ought to watch. I'll need to. Gosh, I have not hardly watched Dear Rose and oh my goodness. See, that's what pain will do. Pain will actually interrupt your short-term memory. And I need to catch up on Rose. See how Rose makeup artist. I need to catch up and see what she's been up to. Rose, if you're watching, I love you. Still love you. I've just been so far up my own, you know what? Just trying to make it through this last couple weeks from one thing or another. Okay, sometimes I like to just, from the tip of my painted on eyebrow to the corner of my eye, right? Just up here on the fat. Up here on the fat. So anyway, I need to check their channels to see what kind of natural colors of palettes they're doing. I do not do blues, purple. Well, it depends on how earthy the colors are, but I really stick to colors like this. I'm just, back when I tried to experiment with color, I can tell you this, I looked like an Easter egg. I looked like I was, I don't know, one of those good girls going to church. And I'm sorry, I'm just too old for that look now. I had my chance when I was younger, and I was chicken. I was too afraid to do that for the most part. I hardly ever experimented with makeup other than, you know, some very small things. The things that some of these other, oh yeah, and I shaved this last week. The other day, it made me feel much better. See, I was able, that makeup was able to feel all the little pores in my nose. I just put it on and dabbed it on with a sponge, kind of rolled it in. That's amazing. It didn't feel the great big ones, But it filled a lot of the small and medium ones. That's pretty cool. It's a little drying around these patches here. You can really see the wrinkling more so than, and I didn't put powder on. I didn't need any powder with this. That's for sure. It seems to have a powder all of its own. I can tell you that I'm going to try to... If you don't have these straw wrinkles, see the straw wrinkles? It'd be better. But so here's the trade-off. This makeup has beautiful coverage, but it's a little drying for me. So I'm betting it's not a perfect dupe for... Okay. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Frankie, come. Frankie, come. Whee! Good boy. Okay. Watch the house. Be a good boy. Okay. Oh, I feel terrible. But yeah, once he starts, I am learning. It doesn't stop. So I don't know. That's the thing when you go by other people's reviews and they call out dupes. Unless you've tried it yourself, you really don't know. I think it's a good makeup, especially for me for videos, because if my clients are sitting around counting my wrinkles, well, they need more homework assignments. So I'm just going to use got this Fit Me 350. It's supposed to matte and poreless, normal to oily. Well, the problem is my skin is not oily. So this is more powder that would be drying. But I'm just going to put it around my hairline. I'm not going to put it here on my neck because this is kind of rosacea-ish. So I'll even out my neck by putting it around the other side. Also, I am going to put it like I was out in the sun. And I like to cover up my upper lip a tiny bit. Why don't I just use darker foundation? I'll tell you why. Because when I use darker foundation, I don't get the depth of the lighter and the darker. That way there's dimension. I don't look like a flat face. There are a lot of people who work really hard on doing the, they'll have dark brown, medium brown, light brown, and white, basically. And they're putting these lines all over their face, and then they're blending them all in. You know, I use, to me, it's too much work, too much product, too much money, and I can put on a foundation that kind of matches, and then kind of doctor it up with a little powder. And if I'm really feeling spicy, then I add just a little bit more blush right here to add a little more. Then I can take the color and maybe put just here a little bit. But not much, because you know what? I have a pug nose. So if I'm going to put a dark streak here, if I turn my head, it's going to show. Okay, and then if I want to, I can put a little shine. Just take any of your sparkly eyeshadow that's a light color or a pink color and just put it right here. Be very careful to not overdo it. You know, I kind of look at life that way too. Don't overdo it, but don't underdo it. Live big, just don't live dangerously. There are people who push and push and push and push themselves, and I used to the brink of having, I don't know if you want to call it a nervous breakdown or just exhaustion to where you have to go to bed for a week. People used to throw around the words, I had a nervous breakdown back in 91. Well, they used to say nervous breakdowns are what put you in the hospital, or a psychotic episode is what more than likely put you in the hospital. Nervous breakdowns, I don't know, that was so overused. But I can tell you that your nerves, I'm going to say neural pathways, sometimes they get in a traffic jam. And all you can do, especially when you've had past trauma, sometimes all you can do is protect yourself and allow yourself time to mourn, to grieve, to get out all that ick that your body has been storing up and storing up and storing up. And it may look nonsensical, excuse me, to other people. Your brain may say, I'm going to lose my mind. Am I losing my mind? But that's really just other people's stories and TV getting into your head. Because most of the time, when we get to this place of mourning, if we're in a safe place, what's happening is our body is shedding. Our brain is shedding, trying to unwind and realign. Does therapy work at that time? Maybe. What really helps is if you do have a really good therapist who gets you, and if you have any friends at all, even just one that you can rely on, even if you have to pay them, I don't know. I'm just saying, to make sure you have some food in the house, whether you feel like eating or not, to make sure that you take a shower every few days, whether you want to or not, to make sure if you have to go to work, to make sure you're going to work, just to check on you at least once a day, like preferably 4 times a day, just because your brain needs to know that someone cares. And then let yourself cry. Allow yourself the room and space to just be a mess. But don't clog it up with watching a bunch of TV or video games. You have to allow yourself the silence and space. And here's one thing that I know to be true. If you allow yourself to do that, even if you try to tell yourself, oh gosh, am I going crazy? Am I going to lose my mind? Remember this, sooner or later, even if you're curled up in a little ball, just snotting and crying and sweating, make sure you have good hankies, right? Tissues are useless. Make sure you have a pile of hankies. Ask your friend to go buy you some. They're like $1 a piece at Goodwill. Sometimes or dollar store. Sometimes you can get better deals. And make sure that you, are safe in a place where people aren't around you. Be alone doing this. And Just let it come out without thinking, without memories, without anything. Just letting the body do what it needs to do, because that's what's helping the brain and the body get back into sync. It needs to just kind of run its course. And here's what will happen. Sooner or later, you'll have to get up and pee. Sooner or later, you're going to get up to pee. You have to. And for some reason, that helps recalibrate. You have to pee. And most of us will not lay there and pee on ourselves. If that happens, then you know you probably need to go to the emergency room. That's usually where you can tell the difference. I don't care how hard it is for you to get up and pee. If you do get up to pee, you're usually going to be okay. Right? Almost always. In my professional opinion. And yes, I will go to court to say that. Yes, I will. If you lay there and pee on yourself, then yeah, go check into the emergency room. Get some help. Get some medication to help you through this hard time, especially if you don't have family or friends. However, you get up to pee, you usually get a little more energy to maybe even wash your hands, maybe even wash your face, maybe even finally brush your teeth, and then you're weirdly going to get hungry, right? And this goes for mourning or just grieving the past that finally catches up to you. So if you're going through anything like that, or you're going to set up a situation where you allow yourself to go through something like that, make sure you kind of, like I said, line things up to make that a supportive environment. I know it helped change my life when I went through it. Thank God. I had a couple friends that checked on me and supported me. Thank you. Oh, I had so much self-pity. So much self-pity that when I finally went through that, I realized how fortunate I was, how little I had to feel sorry for myself about, how life happens. Life just happens to everybody. It's just some of us, when we're already wounded, everything feels like an assault, right? Once we start healing, life just happens. We're not feeling assaulted, right? And if we feel assaulted for a moment and we go, oh, wait a minute, this happens to other people too, right? Yeah. Life is weird. And I'm not saying that it's, oh God, I hate it when I go to a meeting and somebody says, I'm a grateful alcoholic. It's like, shut the up. A grateful alcoholic. That's dumb. That's dumb. But anyway, my skin's so dry, I think I'm just going to put a little tiny bit extra right there just for funsies. Just because my skin's so dry under there anyway. Who cares? Okay, let me see what kind of mess I made. I gotta get this big mirror. I'm just looking at how dry my skin looks. I guess I'm gonna have to increase my water. I did lay around a lot and not want to get up. So I maybe haven't gotten the moisture on the inside the way I would have. And just laying there, just trying not to move. All right, I gotta go. But hey, I love you. And whoopsie, didn't mean to do that. So we just have to really, look, I'm moving around pretty good. I haven't had a hard cramp all day yesterday or so far this morning. So I think I'm on the mend. I'm just going to try not to overdo it again for another couple days. Just to make sure. Because I have very tense neck and back muscles anyway. So, yeah, a relapse would be in the normal range, I suppose. So I'm going to try not to do that again. All right. What was I going to say? There's a country song. It's called Bring On the Rain. I can't remember who does it, but I love that song. If you feel like maybe listening to something that moves you a little bit, but still feels kind of clean and still feels kind of powerful, but still feels kind of vulnerable, listen to that song. It's called Bring On the Rain. And honestly, there was also a song by, I think it was 4 Non-Blondes. It was Good Morning. I can't remember how it goes, but it was a very powerful song too. Anyway, music can really stir things up and get things going. I gotta go take care of Frankie. Poor guy. All right, y'all. Here we go again. Love you. Bye for now.